The Battle of the Atlantic was a critical component of the Second World War as the Allies fought to control the shipping lanes that supplied Great Britain and other parts of Europe. The German Kriegsmarine, the Navy, sought to disrupt these supply lines and starve the Allies into submission, while the Allies attempted to maintain their lines of communication and protect their convoys. The Battle of the Atlantic was the longest continuous military campaign of the Second World War, lasting from 1939 to 1945. One of the key players in the Battle of the Atlantic was the German juggernaut battleship, the Bismarck, which was commissioned in 1940. The Bismarck was one of the largest and most powerful battleships of its time, equipped with 8 38cm guns and a top speed of 30 knots. The ship was considered a major threat to the Allies and its sinking, but before we get into it, please make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are enjoying the content. Any support will be greatly appreciated. The Battle of the Atlantic was a critical part of the Second World War, as it was the longest and most important naval campaigns of the war. The German battleship the Bismarck was one of the most powerful vessels in the German Navy and was tasked with attacking the German convoys in the Atlantic. Before sinking the Bismarck, the situation in the Atlantic was dire for the Allies. German U-boats or submarines were wreaking havoc, successfully sinking large numbers of merchant ships that were critical for supplying Britain and other Allied countries with food, fuel and other essential resources. The loss of these ships threatened to cut off Britain from the rest of the world, making it vulnerable to a potential German invasion. The Bismarck was a formidable ship with a massive displacement of over 50,000 tons and a complement of 8 15-inch guns. It was capable of speeds up to 30 knots, making it one of the fastest battleships in the world at the time. The Bismarck was designed to be the ultimate weapon in the Battle of the Atlantic, capable of sinking even the largest and most heavily armed Allied ships. Despite its impressive capabilities, the Bismarck was not without its weaknesses. The ship was relatively vulnerable to air attacks due to its lack of effective anti-aircraft defences. Additionally, its limited fuel capacity made it difficult to sustain extended operations far from home. Those weaknesses would prove to be critical in the event of sinking the Bismarck. The hunt for the Bismarck was a crucial part of the Battle of the Atlantic during World War II. In response to this major threat, the British Navy launched a massive pursuit of the Bismarck, determined to stop it at all costs. The pursuit of the Bismarck began on May the 24th, 1941, when the British naval force under the command of Admiral John Tovey were alerted to the presence of the German battleship. The British were well aware of the dangers posed by the Bismarck and were determined to stop it before it could cause any more damage to British shipping lanes. The initial pursuit of the Bismarck was hampered by bad weather and poor visibility, but eventually the British naval force was able to close in on the German ship. On May the 22nd, the Bismarck was located by a British reconnaissance aircraft, and then the pursuit intensified. The British Navy was able to track the Bismarck's movements and plan their attack accordingly. The events leading up to the sinking of the Bismarck were some of the most intense and dangerous of the entire war. The British Navy faced numerous challenges in their pursuit of the German battleship, including the Bismarck's powerful guns and the challenging conditions at sea. However, the British were determined to succeed, and they eventually launched a series of attacks on the Bismarck that would prove to be successful. On May the 27th, 1941, after several days of pursuit, the British Navy was finally able to sink the Bismarck. The sinking was the result of a coordinated effort by several British ships, including the battleships King George V and Rodney, as well as several other vessels. The attack was carried out with intense determination and skill, with the British ships launching a sustained barrage of shells and torpedoes at the Bismarck. The impact of the sinking of the Bismarck was far-reaching and substantial. It was a significant blow to the German war effort in the Atlantic, and the loss of the Bismarck marked a turning point in the battle for control of the Atlantic shipping lanes. It demonstrated the power and capability of the British Navy and reinforced the importance of naval power in the war effort. The sinking of the Bismarck also dealt a severe blow to the morale of the German Navy, which had viewed the Bismarck as a symbol of their naval prowess. The legacy of the sinking of the Bismarck is equally significant. It remains one of the most well-known and studied naval engagements of the Second World War, and is remembered as a testament to the bravery and skill of the sailors who took part in the pursuit and sinking of the Bismarck. It serves as a reminder of the sacrifices made by the Allies in their efforts to defeat the Axis powers, and the critical role that naval power played in the outcome of the war. The aftermath of the sinking of the Bismarck had far-reaching consequences for both the German Navy and the war effort as a whole. The loss of one of its largest and most powerful battleships was a significant blow to the German Navy and severely impacted their ability to control the Atlantic. The sinking of the Bismarck also had a significant impact on the morale and public opinion, both in Germany and Britain. In Germany, the loss of the Bismarck was seen as a major setback and contributed to growing feelings of defeatism and disillusionment with the war effort. In Britain, on the other hand, the sinking of the Bismarck was seen as a major victory and boosted morale and public support for the war effort. It also marked a major turning point in the Battle of the Atlantic, which was a crucial aspect to the war. It was the largest and most sustained naval campaign of the war and was fought between the Allies and the German U-boats. The sinking of the Bismarck demonstrated the strength and capability of the British Navy. This gave them a massive advantage in the Battle of the Atlantic. The battle was widely recognised as one of the key turning points in the war and is remembered as a defining moment in the history of naval warfare. The sinking of the Bismarck has been studied and analysed by military historians and is often considered a key example of effective naval strategy and tactics. It is important to remember and honour the sacrifices of the sailors and military personnel who fought in this battle, as well as all of those who served in the war. As viewers, we have a responsibility to continue learning about and sharing their stories, so that the future generations may appreciate their bravery and heroism. We must continue to preserve and commemorate the history of this crucial time, so that we may never forget the sacrifices and triumphs of those who fought for our freedom. Thank you as much as ever for watching this video, guys. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed it and subscribe to the channel. All your support is amazingly appreciated. Have a great day, guys.